Yo, what is good? My anime faithful, what is good, yo? Guys, this freaking anime is ridiculously gorgeous, ridiculously hype, and as of right now, it's actually pretty funny. I did not expect it to have much of a comical tone to it as it did this week. And at the same time, it automatically already put me in a position where I'm kind of disappointed if it does wind up happening, unless it is just like a little secret way of being like sneaky about saying this. But this week's episode showcases the third member of the first years, and I guess there's not a lot of first years or a lot of sorcerers in general, hence why it's called Sorcerer's Fight. Um, but because there is so little amount of them, they are pretty capable, right? Like these people either are well trained by the people that need to train them, or they just wind up learning on experience through whatever they go through. But the cool thing about this show is how much elaboration they keep giving us, right? Like, not only do they keep us in the loop of like small details of the monsters, but they're telling us in Tokyo, because of how much more people live and how many people know urban legends and cemeteries and all this different stuff, all of that builds up more and more uh, actual, whatchamacallit, fear and power for these curses to be relatively much stronger than what they already are. So with that being said, the the country bumpkin supposedly never really experienced something on the level of what Tokyo is normally experiencing. And that's really cool. That tells me a lot about what I should be expecting when it comes down to further on. And if people, if there's even a mention of someone from the country and they're capable of fighting monsters or the curses in Tokyo, that just means how much they have grown, compared to what we know about the people in the country not being fighting as strong curses. That just goes to show you that even though they didn't train with this much experience and danger, they're still ridiculous. And that's what I'm kind of looking forward to now, that they've kind of put that in the air, that there's areas all over the place that have these things going on, but Tokyo's is even more concentrated. Does that mean there's some in America? Does that, you know what I mean? Like, how far does the curses spread? And if the curses do spread all over the world, is that in their jurisdiction, or is that something they would just leave to an American organization of sorcerers? So that's why that little tiny detail of like, yeah, in the countries we got to deal with the curses, but they're not that strong. So is it strong in America? Is it strong in Europe? Is it strong, in any other places, or is Tokyo just home of the curses? We'll just have to see, which is another reason why I'm so happy to get more of this show. But overall, I was disappointed in the part that I was talking about earlier, in seeing all the cool stuff all of our characters can do, all three of these first years, just for the narrative or the narrator at the end of the episode to be like, oh, well, by the way, because of the phenomenon that was happening, we had to send the first years to this case. And what happens on this case? One of them dies. It's like, so what's the point of me watching this episode and going in with a fresh mind if even the show itself doesn't want to keep the spoilers to a minimum? So that was annoying, but at the same time, my mind is pretty powerful, and I thought of it as death may not be uh, the end for the person that dies, especially someone who's swallowing these nasty fingers and maybe he's going to take a ridiculous amount of damage, but at the same time, he his heart stops or something, like he was dead for a couple seconds, or he literally is full-blown dead and the monster comes out and takes over for a little bit, thus making it seem like one of them died after, maybe half an hour. I don't know. I honestly don't see any of these characters dying, so that's kind of the big problem with these types of stories. It's just like comics, they want things to seem really epic and crazy, but for a fact, any of the characters in a comic book die, they're gonna come back in some way, shape, or form. Anime and manga, not so much, unless it's the actual story itself that allows it. For instance, fairy tale. There's like no type of threat in fairy tale besides agnologia, and even agnologia I don't even think takes out any fairy tale members, as in they don't ever get to come back on screen. It's that type of stuff that makes you not have any type of expectations for the random or the inevitable, because death doesn't seemingly mean anything in the story. In this instance of saying, oh yeah, there's someone dies at the end of this, blah blah blah, it's like, okay, so if someone doesn't actually die, we can't even trust the narrator, right? Like, how are you a part of the story? You say someone's gonna die and then they end up, in episode 502. Just an example, I'm just saying, like, they were supposed to die in episode 2, but they're still alive in episodes 18. That don't make no sense. So hopefully this is not just some stupid tactic of making people be anxious or worried, or actually, wonder who's going to be taken out, because at the end of the day, if it's anybody going to fall, it's probably going to be the chick, okay? I'm sorry, but out of everybody, she's the only one who had an explanation why she's not going to be all that great against stronger I guess they did say she's not going to be great, but there's a chance of her getting caught off guard more than anyone else that's already been in Tokyo and know how some of these monsters and their intelligence and stuff, like straight up taking hostages and stuff like that. She automatically was in a position where she was thinking about letting the kid die, and with one person showing up, and if he was in the same position, I don't think he would have had to go that far. Sure, he would have surrendered his weapon, but he would have tried to still fight, and I think she would have too. It's just the simple fact that she already had the idea that she was gonna die. Like, she knew she was dead, but if she fought back and let the kid die, she would have a chance to live. So she planned on just dropping everything and pretty much just taking the L. So I am interested in her character. She has heart, she has power. The one thing she has a lot of is bent up anger and stuff like that too. Her backstory already has kind of been told. Out of everybody, she's the only one that we have a backstory for. Another type of death flag right there. Oh, this is how I got out of the country and why I'm doing this and that. And then it just so happens that the narrator tells us, oh yeah, somebody dies, by the way. I'm like, bruh, it's gotta be her. So we'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong and everybody comes out okay and they all grow to be some dope characters. But if not, and this is just how the story is supposed to play out, let it play out. I ain't trying to change something because a character might be kind of cool. We gotta let the story go the way it's naturally supposed to go, With all that being said, though, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you as soon as possible with my videos. I apologize for today being a longer wait, but at least I got one video out to give you guys a heads up, and I'll try to do that again tomorrow because I gotta open work again. So yeah, I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.